Hello, welcome to the second stream on our Roll4Change charity stream today. Today we are raising funds for the National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI. I think that's how you'd pronounce that acronym. NAMI provides education, advocacy, and leadership for the fight against mental illness. And please donate while we are streaming at roll4change.org/donate. There are also a lot of cool items being given away. So if you are interested in being entered in the raffle for that, you can put that information in on the donation page. I'm Ree. I'm going to be the GM for this Blades in the Dark game. If everybody else wants to real quick introduce yourselves and your character, who you'll be playing today. Let's start with Waffles.
Hi, I'm Waffles. I'll be playing Dawn's Broken Promise, the Hound.
All right.
And their giant moose, Skittles.
What's the moose's name?
Skittles.
Perfect.
And I think you need to share the most important feature about the moose.
Oh, his giant wobbly arms.
What's at the end of his giant wobbly arms?
Oh, hands.
It's horrifying, and I love it. All right. Minna. Oh, Minna, I think you're muted.
Oh my god! Is that what's been responding to me?
That would be the reason.
Yep.
It was my headset mute button. Hi, I'm Minna. I'll be playing Amiel. She's kind of a spooky former spirit warden who has decided to join a cult instead.
Yeah. And she's the Whisper, is your playbook,
She's
right?
the Whisper, yes.
Yes. Right. And Hank.
Hey everybody, I'm Hank, and I'm going to be playing Bastus Tomuth, better known on the streets as Black Tom. And Black Tom, he is a lurk, a bit of a cat burglar.
Okay, so this is how it's going to be. All right. All right.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Remember the Devil's Morgan time.
All right, and Lynn.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews, she, her pronouns. I am playing Portia Dalmore, aka the Nightingale, noble sign of a fallen house, and using the slide playbook.
All right. So, welcome, everyone, to Duskwall. It's the jewel of the Empire, the city from which the great Leviathan hunter ships set sail to hunt the immortal demons. The demon blood fuels the Empire, and without it, the spirits that linger on, trapped on the wrong side of the gates of death, would surely overrun what remains of civilization. The four of you are the leaders of a small cult dedicated to the worship of the Lady of Thorns. The Lady is an ancient, nearly forgotten god, one of many whose names are whispered by handfuls of believers throughout Duskwall. You learned of her in crumbling tomes that described the practices of ancient druids, nature priests with great powers of summoning and transformation. And tonight, you hope to gain some small piece of their power for yourselves. You've uncovered a ritual that will allow you to summon a powerful nature spirit. But in order to complete it, you must acquire a ritual focus and carry it safely to the site in the Deathlands. Which is why you find yourselves here, crouched in the shadows of the study in the Dimmer Sisters townhouse. The sisters are recluses who dominate the spirit trafficking trade in Duskwall, despite never leaving their home. And rumor has it that somewhere in this house of ghosts and secrets is the focus that you need. So,
We're so dead.
you are inside the house of a fairly powerful gang of spirit traffickers, whose house you know to be heavily guarded with spirits and wards. And somewhere in here is the ritual focus that you need to pull off this summoning spell that you found.
Do we know what the ritual focus looks like? What manner of beastie?
It's we will figure that out when we get there.
Oh.
Might I suggest a group prowl with me
Yes.
with my 2 points in prowl and my extra stress for when we inevitably
Yeah.
fail.
So for our new players, you can do a group action is where everybody rolls the same action together. One person will lead. In this case, Waffles has volunteered. And if everybody rolls together like this, the highest result is the result that the whole group uses. But anyone who rolls a 3 or below causes the leader to take stress. So this is like the whole group sneaking through the house is the perfect time to use this sort of thing. So if you're all good with that, everybody go ahead and roll your prowl score.
And then if we don't have a dot, we roll 2 and take the lowest, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, which is what I am doing, and I got a 4.
Okay.
Okay, so it'll be me to. I rolled a 1 and a 2, so
Okay.
there you go.
1 stress.
Hank, what did you get?
Well, I have a 6
Oh, very nice.
and a 2.
Okay, but the 6, you got the high. Do you have ranks in prowl?
I have 2.
Okay,
Hank
so
is the
6 is the
lurk, I
result.
hope.
And I
Yeah.
also got a 6.
Okay, so the
And a
result.
2.
Ooh. So the result for the group is a 6. Waffles takes 1 point of stress, kind of covering for your somewhat less stealthy party member.
Portia's getting a little distracted by some of the art on the walls and such.
Like at some point, it's just like stick hand out, ghost with tray, like crosses in front of us.
Oh no.
So you are successfully sneaking, but where are you sneaking to? You started in the study on the ground floor. Where in the house do you think this you found that the ritual focus was?
The attic.
It's clearly in the attic.
All right.
Clearly
With
as
all the
far
other
away from
random
us
shit they have
as
tucked away.
possible.
Yeah. Okay.
Picture the Dimmer sisters as like spooky eons old grandmas.
It could be. So yeah, you successfully sneak your way through the halls, up the stairs to the second floor. And then you all kind of have to stop and look around because you're not sure where to get to the attic. Nobody's noticed you yet. You haven't set off any alarms. But you also don't really know where you need to go right now.
Can I do a survey roll?
Yeah.
Like survey the scene?
Yes. you
Okay,
can
so if I have 1 dice in it, I just roll 1.
You roll 1 die. Yep.
Okay, well,
this is
those
gonna
other
be-
2.
I'll go ahead and assist and give an extra die.
Okay. So yeah, Waffles is helping you out.
roll
They're
a
going to
2
take a point of stress. So yeah, you'll roll 2 dice.
Okay.
So the 2 of you, and is Skittles in the house with you?
Not currently. No.
Okay.
Oh please!
I was just
Skittles is not in camera view at the moment.
Oh
Skittles will enter when it is most appropriate.
Skittles is pretending to like clean windows. And
no! We'll just do a flashback at some point and realize where Skittles is.
We'll just get a scene where I'm marking Skittles and he descends from the ceiling. Just,
All right. So Lynn, what did you get?
I rolled a 3 and a 5.
Okay. So your result is a 5.
Okay.
That is my favorite kind of roll, which is a success with a consequence.
Oh boy.
So you're looking around, and everyone is kind of like looking around, at the other doors in the hallway, and you glance up and see a trap door above you. Which is great.
Okay.
That's probably leading to the attic. Perfect. However, as you look back down to tell your friends that you found how to get into the attic, you see a kind of a little ways down the hall from all of you, there is a spirit staring at you, has definitely noticed you, and based on appearance, the fact that it seems to be in some kind of uniform and has a sword, this is probably some kind of guard.
Hey there.
This one
I have this special ability called
Yeah.
L. So I'm gonna roll a tune.
All right. So, yeah.
I just rolled a 3 on a 2, which is my best skill.
Okay.
Oh, buddy.
So,
Oh, I'm sorry. I just realized we're PG-13.
oh, yes.
I'm sorry. I'm used to magpies. Nobody cares if I curse on there.
Yep.
Sorry.
It's okay. All right. So you got a 3. So tell me how this looks in character with Portia points out the ghost and you
Amiel. Amiel. So she closes her eyes and attunes to the ghost field, and she can see like the links between things and the spirit shining very brightly, and she opens her mouth to talk, and the spirit just cuts her off.
Okay. Yeah. The spirit lets out an unearthly shriek and charges down the hallway towards you.
Can I try to be like, hey, with the ghost voice ability?
Once I've finished delivering the consequence to her. Because this ghost, let's see, it's a guard spirit, so it's not going to try to possess you, which is kind of the only thing you have going for you right now. It has a job to do. It's kind of bound to this place, so it can't just take your body and leave. So it is going to try to stab you with a ghost sword, though, which doesn't leave physical wounds, but it does sort of like stab you in the soul. So that is going to be, this was risky. This is going to be level 2 harm. Stabbed in the soul, I guess is what you would note that as. And then if you don't resist this harm, you will be at -1 die on basically any kind of mental things that you're trying to do. So attune.
So this is a resolve resistance, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna resist that.
Okay, so to explain how this works, when you take a consequence, you can choose to resist it. And then on your character sheet, there are kind of with your actions, they're broken into 3 categories, resolve, prowess, and insight. When you say, I'm going to resist that consequence, I will tell you which of those 3 you resist it with. Physical harm is usually with prowess, supernatural harm is usually with resolve, and social harm is usually with insight. You then roll however many dots you have in the first column of that that category. So if you have, ranks in finesse and finesse and skirmish, you would have 2 dice that you would roll in prowess. So, and then you roll your dice and take the highest, and you subtract the highest result from 6, and that is how many stress you take in order to resist this consequence. So,
and I rolled a 5, so I'm only taking 1 stress.
Awesome. So that's going to reduce it down to level 1 harm. So you'll be at reduced effect on those sort of things.
All of my whisper stuff, basically.
You got stabbed in the very soul of your being, but
immediately at the beginning.
you managed to sort of like, well, tell me how you resist it.
So I think she whips out her fine lightning. Well, maybe not fine lightning hook. Hold on a sec. I don't want to mark that off just for a resistance roll. So I think she basically dodges far enough back that it only gets her a little bit.
Okay. All right, and then Lynn, you wanted to do something.
So I have
that
ghost
portion.
voice, which
Yes.
gives me the ability to interact with the ghost or demon as if it was a normal human.
Hmm.
And then also real quick under the equipment, because this is one of the italicized ones, what is a spirit bane charm?
So Spirit Bane Charm basically is something that you can use to repel spirits and ward them off.
Okay.
The way that I think about them is kind of like a holy symbol in D&D. You have to kind of have some will behind it.
Yeah.
Just having one on your person isn't enough. You have to be actually like saying back spirit.
Yeah.
But that is something that you could use if you are trying to tell this spirit to back off. You could use that in your role.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I'm just
Okay.
like,
I also have ghost bullets if this doesn't work.
All right. Let's see how talking goes first.
hey there, friend. It's misunderstanding. We're just here visiting. Nothing to worry about.
All right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's go ahead and
How's your
make
day?
All right, you'll need to make some kind of roll to persuade the spirit to chill out. And
So I guess it'd either be what consort. or
Sounds like a sway.
sway?
yeah,
Okay, cool.
sway is more manipulative. Consort is more like actually building a genuine connection. So
Okay, yeah.
probably
I
sway.
have 2 in sway, so
Awesome.
and it's just 2 die, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless you want to push yourself or ask for a devil's bargain, you can get more.
Yeah, I'll push myself for 1 more die.
Okay, so you'll take 2 stress.
Okay.
So mark 2 points of stress, and then you'll be rolling 3d6.
Okay, and watch, I will roll all ones.
It's happened before.
4 is the highest.
4. Okay. Okay, so again, this is the success with a consequence. So
I get stabbed in the soul.
no, I think what it is because the thing is you were trying to persuade it that you all are friendly, right? That it doesn't need to attack you.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think here's what happens. It believes you. It believes you're friendly. It thinks that you are here as honored guests,
Oh God.
and it needs to go tell the head of the household that you're here.
Oh.
Hey, friend.
So so I think what happens is the ghost, like as you're calming it down, it just sort of it calms and it nods and then gives you a deep bow and is like, my apologies. I shall go inform the sisters of your arrival. And it's gonna start to drift off unless you would like to resist or stop it in some way.
Don't bother. Let's
Otherwise-
just run.
Yeah. just run. Just keep going.
Yeah, just run. Like
Yeah. Be like, okay,
So
upstairs.
so I'm going to for this introduce another fun mechanic with blades, which is a clock. Clocks are basically a countdown timer to something happening. In this case, this is going to be a clock with a 4-segmented clock. And when I fill in all 4 of those segments, the ghost is going to reach its masters and inform them that you have arrived. So right now, the clock is at 1 out of 4. So it is at 25% full. And this is something where going forward, you'll probably have, if consequences happen, I will continue to tick that clock up until it fills in, and then things will get very exciting. So you point out the trap door, right?
Yeah.
Somebody probably, well, so you go to pull it down and it doesn't move. It's locked.
Are you kidding me?
I look at our lurk, maybe.
Yes.
A little help.
Yes, I suppose I could take
Oh,
care of this little lock.
They're
for
only going to inform people, but yes, let's just.
Yes, just a moment.
All right.
And I'll attempt a finesse.
Yeah, I'd say
This
finesse
lock
or
open?
tinker if you've got more in tinker. Either one of those.
I believe my dice are in finesse because
Okay.
I've gotta work my little claws.
Yeah,
in that lock.
finesse.
That's
And
gone
then
forever.
this is going to continue to be risky
All right.
in terms of your position. So
Well,
go ahead.
how about I go ahead and I push this to get, because we got to get in there. We got to get moving. So I will take the, is it 2 stress?
2 stress, yes.
Let's go ahead and take the 2 stress and get the extra die on that.
All right.
All right, we have a 5, a 6, and a 2.
All right. So a 6. Yeah. So
All right.
you get up there and just pop it right open. Trapdoor comes down. I think it's one of those where like it pulls down into like a ladder. And you can all go scrambling up into the attic of the Dimmer sisters' home.
Oh no, everyone froze.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I mean, I can see you all now. Sorry, it was
Okay.
just okay.
Just all right. We all
I
good?
think I'll be the last one up, and I'll raise the ladder.
Okay. Okay. So the attic is basically what exactly what you would expect to find in the attic of a creepy house guarded by ghosts and lived in by recluses who capture ghosts and sell them for transformation into ghost drugs. It's a thing in the setting. It's one of my favorite facts about Blades in the Dark is take ghosts and turn them into drugs. It is dark and dusty. There are piles of all kinds of random stuff with like big white sheets draped over them. There are some large boxes with sort of faded peeling labels on them, some like big iron-bound chests. All kinds of fun and exciting things up here, probably.
Yep.
But you are looking for the thing that you need to pull off a summoning ritual.
I think Don is going to pull off like one of the sheets, and there's just be like a 3-headed screaming monkey.
It's like finding a snail in an eel pit.
Is there a way to lock that door that we pulled up just to make sure that it's locked on our end?
Yes, yeah, you can
Okay.
lock it from this side.
So
yeah.
we are not probably going back down that way.
There are a few windows up here. They're those like little attic, like gabled round windows. So that's basically where the extent of any light up here is coming from. There's some moonlight and then light from the city lights outside. But otherwise it's very dark up here.
I have a question about attuning with spirit masks.
Mhm.
Would that help me isolate the energy of the ritual focus?
It would give you, so with a fine spirit mask, that's going to increase your effect.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll give you greater effect on the roll.
But is it a thing that I could attune and find?
I feel like though
I'm
that
gonna roll it.
putting on the attune in like this place would be like putting on night vision goggles in the middle of the brightest room.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see a lot.
But at least it will help me.
Well, I mean, we'll see how the roll goes, and we'll figure out if you're able to pick out the thing that you need.
Yeah.
I can
if you
only
can't do
roll
this, we could just
badly
do a
tonight. I can
group
only
survey.
roll badly.
Oh yeah, we could.
What'd you get?
I got a 2. This is
Alright.
my best skill, you guys. I'm really good at this.
So I think the 4 of you kind of split up to start searching the attic. Emil, you put on your mask, and yeah, you're looking around, but like there is just spirit energy and arcane essence on everything in here. It's just like it is impossible to discern any specific one object.
It's like a blacklight party.
Yeah, kind of.
Like what?
A
Like a
blacklight party, so everything's like glowing about.
Yep. So the upshot of this is that you're all just spending a lot of time in here and
I
not
pick
really
up the
making any
clock.
progress. So yeah, that clock is now at 2 out of 4 for
we
the
do a
ghost
Group
informing.
survey? Can we do a group survey like Waffles had suggested?
Yes, I didn't hear that. That would have been smarter.
Well, I figure you got your magic thing. If the encased magic don't work, use eyeballs.
So again, everybody can roll survey. Oh, who is leading?
Let's see who has stress. I have 2.
I have 2.
I think.
I have 1.
I have 2 as well.
Okay, I guess it's me.
All right. So
That makes narrative sense. She
Yeah.
tried, but she's still at the head of the group.
Yeah, resident spook expert. We're just like, is this it? No.
I rolled a 2, so I'm taking a point of stress for myself.
Yep.
I rolled a
4.
4.
A 3.
It's 2.
I got a 5.
Okay.
Woo!
So the result is a 5. Yeah, you're taking 2 points of stress, Minna.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So, Hank, that means you are the lucky one who gets to tell me what the ritual object is, because Black Tom finds it.
Ooh, now this is to do with our deity, correct?
Yes, it is a ritual relating to the Lady of Thorns. It seems to be some kind of summoning ritual. The texts that you found were very old and decayed, and you're not quite sure what you're going to summon, but it's like some kind of powerful natural entity.
What if it's like a weird petrified rose or something?
Well, that's what I was thinking. It's
Because it's the Lady of Thorns that we're
it's
summoning.
it's a bouquet of flowers.
Okay.
And it's withered. When you look at it, it looks very old and withered, but it doesn't like flake apart. Like it's still really pliable and durable. Like you could smack the flowers around and it wouldn't fall apart like dead flowers would. But
Okay.
they just look ancient.
Cool. I like that. So yeah, you find these flowers sitting in a probably I'm thinking that they're sitting in like a very dusty like silver bowl that they've just been laid into. So yeah, you find them and you pick them up and you're like, yes, got it. Got
Well,
the thing.
instead of finding them, how about I see the bowl on like a tabletop, and I gotta push it off of there,
Oh my god. Oh my god.
and I push it off, and the bowl breaks, and I'm expecting the flowers to go poof, and they don't. They just kind of drop to the ground. I'm like, oh, that's very very odd. And pick them up.
Yeah.
Fragrant.
Fantastic.
All
Let's
right.
get out of here.
Oh, yes,
well,
please.
So here's the thing though. You got a 5 out of 6. So there's a
Mhm.
consequence to go along with this.
Is it number 4?
Yeah, I think that as you all have regathered with these cool ancient but not dead flowers, you hear the trapdoor start rattling.
We need to get out of here.
Quick to the window.
Yes.
Can I say for my load that I brought climbing gear?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pull out my climbing gear and go to the window and start.
Yeah,
getting
tying
it.
off a rope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you're able to push the window open. There's all kinds of stuff in here that you can tie a rope to. And I think in order to climb down safely, everybody is going to need to make some kind of roll for getting down this rope. Probably prowl, although I am open to requests for other approaches. But Prowl tends to be the, doing physical stuff.
Is this another one of the ones that we can do as a group?
Were we supposed to roll more die if we did it as a group?
No.
Okay,
No,
because I was like, I only rolled one.
Yeah, no, you roll your however many you have, it just all kind of gets pooled. Yeah, I think you could do it as a group.
I was going to say, we've definitely done that before with...
Yeah, you can climb down collectively.
It depends on if anybody's willing to take the stress.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll take the stress.
Oh,
Okay.
All right.
Let's do a group prowl. I only suggest this because it's another one I have 0 in.
It's not selfish at all.
4.
Okay.
dang it.
I got a 1 and a 3.
Yeah, I have nothing in prowl. So I
Okay,
rolled 4 to 1.
so Waffles, you are taking 3 points of stress.
I'm so sorry.
Please explain how you help your extremely clumsy comrades fumble their way down this rope to the ground.
So I think what we see is Dawn just goes out and is rappelling down the rope like they know how to climb, and then at some point we cut back up, and then we just see a slip, and a slip, and then we follow the camera down, and they're just being held by 3 long spindly moose arms that slowly lower them to the ground.
I was hoping.
Good.
And we just watch the arms go past the moose, who's hanging by one leg off the side of the building, safely to the ground.
All right.
Thanks for the assist, but I didn't really ever want to be held by the moose.
Too bad you're held by the spindly moose.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. So you all make it to the ground. And you run for the fence around this place. You all clamber up and vault over and hit the ground on the other side. You all do it's not all 3-point landings, but you all land in cool poses. And then as you all kind of posed there, you hear a shout from behind. Oi, you there! Stop! And you turn and look, and there is probably about the worst group of people you could run into tonight. It's a pair of bluecoats, which are the local police, an inspector, which is a higher ranked detective police officer, and worst of all, in a dark coat and a brass mask, is a spirit warden. The spirit wardens are a group that are tasked with ensuring that ghosts and spirits and demons and anything occult and arcane does not gain a foothold in the city. Because all of those things are very dangerous to the average citizen. They're also very powerful, and the people in power have a vested interest in keeping control over those things. The spirit wardens are responsible for keeping that stuff locked down. So they're very bad for people like you who are constantly dabbling in the occult.
Amiel slides to the back of the group.
And there's a group of them heading in your direction, or there's a group that includes a spirit warden heading in your direction. What would you like to do?
Do we want to
Cheese it!
run, or I mean, I could try to say something. Can't think of much that would be helpful.
Dawn is running, so
Yeah,
if
say, my
you're
house
saying
has
things,
no power.
good luck.
We're running.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Never talk to the cops.
Turn around and go, nope.
Life lessons. Okay. So, you all quite sensibly take off at a run away from them.
We have to roll for it.
Not yet.
Okay.
So you know that after acquiring this ritual focus, you know that kind of your next stop for completing this ritual is you need to make it outside the city into the Deathlands. So cities, well, at least the cities on the continent that you're on, are protected from ghosts and demons and whatnot by lightning barriers. And these are basically exactly what it sounds like, giant towers that surround the city and generate a wall of lightning. This is one of the primary uses of Leviathan blood, those demons that I mentioned at the beginning that live out in the ocean and are hunted for their blood. Their blood is harvested, turned into electroplasm, and used to fuel the lightning barriers. The lightning barriers are basically the only reason that cities are able to exist and form and not get completely overrun by ghosts, as far as people on this continent are concerned. So there is obviously a very vested interest in keeping the lightning barriers secure and not letting people sneak out through them. But that's exactly what you guys need to do, because the site for your ritual is out in the Deathlands. So you have to make it, the place that you are in, the district you're in, is Crow's Foot, which
So
is...
just make it across the city.
Right smack dab in the middle of Duskwall. So you have to make it, pretty much, you can head basically straight south to hit the lightning barrier there and cross into the Deathlands, but you're going to have to make it there somehow. So you can either try to just run, you can try to obtain passage of some sort. There are carriages and gondoliers who can take you through the city's canals and rivers. You'd probably have to kind of strong arm him at this point, but...
Is there anything, like, that I would have a connection with, like, just with the whole noble thing at all?
Possibly. Who are your...
I'm technically of a fallen house, so not much of anything. But...
Well, you could see who,
You have contacts.
I do have contacts. I have a contact with a tavern owner. Kyra?
Yeah, could...
It's pronounced Clyra.
Yeah, pronounce it however you want to pronounce it.
So I don't know. We could go to the tavern. I could talk to Kyra. There's someone else.
You could do a flashback where you've already talked to Kyra and set it up.
Oh.
Yes, so flashbacks are another very fun mechanic in this game, which is, it's basically pretty much how Waffles just described it. If you need something to be prearranged for you, but you didn't plan for it because as a player, you did not expect any of this to happen.
Yeah.
But your character did. Your characters are smart. You're really competent scoundrels. So of course you talked to your friend, the tavern owner, and she's got a carriage waiting for you.
Awesome.
So in order to do that, you are going to spend some stress. I'm going to say that that's going to be a 1 stress flashback. That's not too outrageous that you would be able to pull that off.
Okay.
So I think then that all of you sprint to the corner where there is a carriage that is drawn by a pair of Akarosian goats. The setting being what it is, one where there is no sunlight, basically. A lot of plants don't really grow, so keeping horses alive is challenging.
At least on a Koros.
Yeah. Goats, however, goats will eat anything. You can keep a goat alive on mushrooms. So there are now the kind of main beast of burden in Duskwall are horse-sized goats. So there's a pair of big goats.
Big beans.
Pulling your carriage. And yeah, you all will have to pile in here, and somebody is going to have to be responsible for driving this thing. Maneuvering vehicles is usually a finesse roll. So if I recall, Black Tom has a decent finesse.
Yeah. So I will hop right up into the seat of the carriage and once everybody's loaded in, just, grab the reins and yeah.
All right. Yeah, go ahead and make a roll.
So we got a 2 and a 4.
Okay, 4. So yeah, you take off, and you hear, like, as I think your friends in the carriage like look back and they can see that group of bluecoats and Spirit Warden rounding the corner just as you take off, and for a couple minutes you think you've gotten away. Like you're rattling through the streets, heading across the canals towards the lightning barrier, and you're like, great, everything's back on track, we are fine.
It's perfect.
Do you just as a warning?
Okay, I'm fine. I'll be fine.
We will remember this next time there's a Devil's Bargain.
Yep. That's my routine threat to the magpies when they make terrible puns at me. So you take off into the city, and then after a few minutes, you hear hoofbeats and wheels clattering coming up behind you real fast. Tearing out of a side street is a blue coat paddy wagon, basically. There's a blue coat driving their goats on, and kind of hanging off the sides with pistols firing at you, as another pair of blue coats that are trying to take you all out. Yes.
Okay, so
Can I have demolition tools and throw a bomb at them
Yes.
at the carriage?
Yeah. I mean,
Can
yes.
that be wreck?
Yeah.
I would also. What does a Devil's Bargain look like? We haven't done one of those yet. have
Boy,
we?
yeah.
Don't blow our carriage up, please.
I mean, it'd be so much fun though. I think the Devil's Bargain is that the explosion is going to very badly spook your goats, and
Perfect.
you'll lose control of them
Yes,
for a
please.
bit. And
If you guys are okay with that, I like that imagery.
there'll have to be some work done to get the goats back under control.
How do you feel about that, Hank? That is,
I think I can get them back in control.
Also, related question, where is Skittles? Oh, Waffles, I think you're muted.
I am riding Skittles alongside the carriage.
Okay.
6. So
I'm just thinking of the horrible sound of its hands slapping against
What's worse is the horrible way in which it runs by getting like squat to the ground, its legs out like this.
Oh God, it does a horrible spider run. Oh
no. This is worse than that one gif of the thing with the fingers. It's worse.
All right. Minna, go ahead and throw a bomb at the blue coat carriage.
Yeah, so I got a 6. So
oh my God.
I lob a bomb and it lands right smack in the middle of the blue coat's carriage and just
and
the blue coat carriage go flying.
Yeah, so I think it's one of those shots where like we don't actually see what happens. It's just like it's a bundle of dynamite arcs through the air and lands in the carriage, and there's just that shot of the two blue coats looking in and like, uh-oh. And then it comes back to our carriage and there's just a kaboom explosion and everything kind of shakes. But that explosion scares your goats and they just kind of go into a wild panic and are veering off and are about and
This is
about
what I signed up for.
We got them off our tails.
So they are dangerously close to crashing into buildings and pedestrians. So you need to get them back under control or risk some very bad things happening here.
I don't know if anyone's played Assassin's Creed Syndicate, but you can like drive wagons in it, and I'm terrible at it. So I'm just imagining what like driving just crashing into everything.
So I've got another 2 and a 4.
Okay.
So a 4. So I
4.
think I'm like, I've got the reins in both hands and I'm tugging them this way, and I've got my tail up and it's wrapped around the reins and it's tugging it back too. So I'm like,
Okay. So yeah, you manage to get the goats back in control. And I think the consequence is going to be that they're just exhausted now. You can't run, like they cannot run as hard as they were. Like they can kind of go at like a slow trot. But you're no longer just doing your like breakneck speed through the city. That said, you're pretty close to the lightning barrier now, and you blew up your immediate pursuit. So depending on how things go, that, may be okay. Or you all, if you want to, keep moving faster, you could abandon the carriage and just go on foot. But you're slowed basically one way or another.
That makes like our carriage stick out, or is it the fact that of who's driving it, or
It's
handed thing right next to
it's
it?
a combination of things. It's slow moving, so it could potentially attract a notice. You're that one carriage probably isn't the only people that are coming after you. So if there's other pursuers, they are probably going to catch up.
so I've kind of got a little idea.
Yes.
So we've established that Skittles is pretty strong. Since, hanging with one leg, he was able to carry us all down. Can we all ride on Skittles' back?
Waffles, I leave this to you. Yeah.
Why not?
Okay.
Skittles like picks you all up one by one.
No.
Watch the coat, please.
This is an abomination of nature.
Our abomination of nature.
So I think Skittles is faster than the goats would be right now, but is still not as fast as top speed goats. I'm sorry, just the mental image of
But the great thing about Skittles is we don't have to obey common road signs, and we just go over buildings.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can climb walls in that thing. Oh god!
So
rope to tie us down too. So
yeah. So 4 of you pile onto Skittles and go clambering off into the night, and I think we can get a brief scene of that group of Bluecoats and Spirit Warden who were chasing you. Are like standing next to your abandoned carriage. Like one of them is in there like searching it, and the inspector is talking to a couple like bystanders while the other Bluecoat is taking notes, and the inspector's just like, I'm sorry, they rode off on a what? So we come back to the 5 of you, including Skittles, as you reach the lightning barrier at the southern edge of the city. As I said, the lightning barrier is this massive, like, I think 80-foot tall wall of lightning that surrounds the city. And it is possible to get through it. People are able to sneak past, but it's not, you can't just walk through. You have to do something to get through it. So what would you like to do to get through this barrier?
I have a suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
I have a contact who is a spirit trafficker, or do we have a contact? Somebody has a contact who's a spirit trafficker.
I think the whole group as.
Mm-hmm.
No, I definitely do also as well. Okay, yeah, it's on my sheet. There's Split, a spirit trafficker. Maybe he knows of like a break in the lightning barrier that we could sneak through. Or at least a method that it would be tricky, but like it's a way that we could get through.
And I'm also a Deathland smuggler, so I would have some idea.
Okay.
That's my background.
Okay, so I would say between your contact and the background here, you as a group, you know how to get through the lightning barrier.
Yeah.
You have a method. And I'll say that you'll at least start at improved effect when you make this attempt because you have kind of this outside information helping you. What is this method? How do you get through?
I think we use the train schedule because there's like a train that travels around the continent.
Yeah.
And in order for the train to get in, they shut down a section of the barrier for a few.
Okay.
We go over to like
The train
the
gets in there.
rail line entry point. So
And,
we're
like-
over in like Night Market.
And like
Yeah,
when they
that's
do
fine.
that, they have a bunch of guards and spirit wardens there to make sure nothing sneaks by when they shut down the barrier for a few seconds. But like we've got like a tunnel underneath that particular section of train.
Okay. Yeah, so you're basically using some kind of pre-established smuggling routes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I think that as you get there, because they're you can hear in the distance the clatter of the train approaching. But as you said, it is heavily guarded, and I think in order to get kind of into your access point tunnel, there's going to have to be either sneaking or a distraction or something to get the guards not noticing you. Hmm?
You mentioned a distraction. We have a slide.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could have a disguise kit and be disguised as like a guard or something, like escorting. I mean, I can cause a distraction. I'd be concerned about getting like pulled into something, but I think maybe a disguise kit and just be disguised as like someone escorting people, maybe.
Yeah, you can give that a shot.
Okay.
So you're saying that you are a guard escorting these three somewhere?
Sure. Yeah.
Is that well 4 with Moose?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what do the rest of you? Does that sound like okay idea or?
Do people get like exiled into the Deadlands?
They
Yes.
do, as it turns out. If you are found guilty of terrible enough crimes, you can get kicked out into the Deathlands. There's a group of people who've managed to survive out there. They are called Deathlands Scavengers. And they find stuff out in the ruins and sometimes are able to earn their way back into the city by trading it back in. There are some people out there, but the Deathlands are pretty hostile.
Mm-hmm.
Most things out there want to kill you and eat your soul.
Okay.
I think that the smuggling tunnel thing, I think that's kind of how you can get out. But you just got to get past these guards.
So I'd probably would have a disguise kit, disguise myself as like a higher. Not like high, but enough to be escorting a group of people.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, that's what I'm gonna go with.
All right.
So would that be a sway roll?
Yeah. Let me look at your character sheet real quick. Find disguise kit. Okay. Yeah. So you're gonna be at
3 right now.
Yeah.
Because I had the climbing gear. And then the find disguise, because the rest of the stuff is italicized.
Yeah.
That I have on.
So this is going to be risky. Understandably.
Let's see.
Yeah, if you would like to push yourself or take a devil's bargain.
What is the effect level?
Greater at this point, because you've gotten a lot of help. There's a find disguise kit involved. Like you've probably done this before.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always, there's always that risk getting past.
I'm trying to think of whether I should just take the 2 stress or if I should just do No, the devil's bargain means that it happens, or I still roll for it.
You still roll for it. The devil's bargain just gets you an extra die. And I can offer you if you ask for a devil's bargain and I offer you something you don't want, you don't have to accept it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, so what would the devil's bargain look like?
There's somebody here who is going to recognize you, not for your most recent criminal escapades, like, oh, hey, that's that person who was being pursued through the city 10 minutes ago, but somebody here who knows you.
Okay.
And will recognize you kind of no matter what happens.
So recognize me in like a bad way?
Maybe. It could be that it's somebody from your formal life in the nobility. It could be somebody that knows you as a criminal. Like, we'll see how it plays out. But it's somebody who will recognize you and possibly complicate matters.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay.
Okay. 5.
5. Okay.
2 5s. And
all right. So you let me think how this is going to play out. Okay. So you pull out from your bag. I think it's probably you just have like a blue coat uniform coat that you can pull on that has some insignias and stripes and stuff to make you look sufficiently high rank, and you're herding this group along. And there's it's close to the train station as you're sort of working your way past, heading for where this smuggling tunnel is. And as you're going, you hear a voice go, "Oh, by the gods, Portia!" And you turn, and there is a middle-aged woman in a very fine traveling outfit. She has her servants behind her with her bags. And this is a name. Anna, we will say.
okay.
An old friend of your family's. From you remember her being around, when you were young, kind of a friend of your parents. And she has recognized you, and it's just like, I had heard about what happened to your family, but I didn't think that you had. Oh, my dear, I'm so sorry. And she comes over to take your hands.
Before she comes over, I give a low bow and go, my lady.
Oh, no, you don't. Even with what happened with your family, you still have noble blood and are of noble standing. There's no need for that between us.
Can I behind my hands kind of just give a motion with one hand, just kind of are we close to the tunnel at all?
Yeah. Yeah. So
can I with one hand holding hers with the hand behind my back, kind of just give a motion to the others of
just scoot.
Yeah, just keep going.
I got this. It's so wonderful to still have support among some of the families. It's unfortunate what happened, but we try to make the best of it.
I can see that. So yeah, I think you can make that gesture, and everybody else just kind of casually walking away. So yeah, they're able to make it to the tunnel.
After a second, the moose looks left, looks right, scampers off.
And I think you get just sort of caught up in conversation with her for a little bit, basically, almost until it's too late. Okay. She finally is oh, I'm so sorry, I have to go catch my train. And you go to rush off, but as you're going, you see kind of shoving their way through the crowd is that damn group of bluecoats again. And they catch sight of you and start shoving through the crowd as you dart off towards the smuggling tunnels.
Okay.
But you are able to rush and duck in there and catch up with your group, and you're able to sneak past the barrier when it drops for those few seconds when the train, reaches the station. And you follow the tunnels out and into the Deathlands. Which, yes.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'd like to do a flashback of telling our acolytes to be on the other side waiting for us with their gas masks that they need. I don't, but they need.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, as a group of cultists, you all have acolytes who are fellow worshippers of your god. And they are basically a small group that you can just kind of give orders to, and they will try to carry them out to the best of their ability.
Mm-hmm.
I think for this, that's going to be a 1 stress flashback for them. They are elite adepts. They're very skilled, very, very loyal, fanatically so. Which is why they're willing to like hang out in the Deathlands for hours waiting for you all to show up. But yeah, they give you, so the Deathlands, among its many charms, the air is basically poison out here. Because like having ghosts and all sorts of other monsters wasn't bad enough. So your acolytes are out here with some kind of survival gear of gas masks to protect you from the poisonous air. As mentioned, Dawn and I suppose Skittles do not need them.
Yep.
They are adapted to survival out here. And yeah, you are your acolytes coming with you?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to do a big old like ceremony together.
All right.
Like,
So
This is what we were working for.
the other...
yeah. So if you all you're like a tier 1 group, so there's like 8 other of your fellow worshippers here that are just kind of like falling in behind you.
I have a quick question. What's
yes.
the bio-break policy with a stream?
I don't know. I think if you need to duck out, you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Be right back.
Go ahead. So, but yeah, your acolytes are going to follow you off into the Deathlands. And I think,
do we leave any behind in case the people went through the barrier?
I don't know. That's up to you.
I think at least one should have been left behind to misdirect in case somebody comes through and they're trying to follow. They could eventually break and give them the information on where we went. But of course, it would be misdirection.
Yes. How did you choose which one has to stay behind?
Oh, everybody drew straws, and it was a fair and balanced process. And why the new guy Nikki got picked is just fate.
As the lady wills it. Sorry, Nikki. Good luck. So, 7 of your acolytes follow along with you. One is just kind of left standing at the entrance, looking sort of dejected.
Oh.
But you head off, and the Deathlands are difficult to navigate. It's very dark. There's this kind of constant poison mist happening. Unlike the city, which is at least, flat streets and whatnot, there's hills, there's ditches, there's sinkholes, there's all kinds of dangers here. So there'll need to be some kind of roll made to sort of navigate safely through here.
Sure, I'll make a roll.
Skittles.
Okay.
I mean, I have a fine hunting pet, and I have survivor. I think that puts us in a good position.
Yes.
Do we think it's hunt to navigate the Deathlands?
I mean, there's not. You know what? Yeah, I'll say
Because
that.
hunting includes tracking.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that the place that you are going to for the ritual is your garden.
Okay.
So Skittles basically kind of has to navigate the path to that location, your garden / shrine.
All right.
So yeah, hunting will work.
And, what's the devil's bargain look like?
Ooh. You shouldn't have picked the new guy to stay behind because he's not going to be as good at lying as you would like.
Oh.
Oh, poor Nikki. And then
he's going to jail is where this is ending. Nikki is going to spill what he knows and is going to end up in Ironhook.
Any amount of time is better than no time. Listen, it won't matter after tonight.
Yeah. All right, so you're taking that?
Yep.
Okay.
We're driving our characters and our acolytes like they're stolen cars.
Nice. 6.
6? Okay. So yeah, I imagine that you are still writing Skittles. As you, so yeah, you set off into the Deathlands. It's probably about a half mile, 3/4 of a mile hike.
I think like the whole group is moving and I'm on top of Skittles with the spyglass.
Yeah.
So you can see over the dunes. Just
emerging from the fog.
Yeah, something spooky will go by and Skittles just shrinks for a second and then comes back up like a periscope.
That's a lot.
Yeah. I love Skittles. Skittles is very good. Skittles is still an abomination of nature, but Skittles is very good. So yeah, with a 6,
It's very much a Waffles creation.
You are able to navigate safely through the Deathlands. Yeah, there's a couple times where there are some of the predators that are out here pass by, but you all are able to kind of keep a low profile and give them the time they need to get past until we reach your shrine and garden. And I think I want we'll start with Waffles since their character's vice is gardening, and this is where they do that. So we'll start there. But I'm going to have everybody contribute an element of this location. So Waffles, start off.
Okay, so it's like this big old briar patch almost that it's like buried in some crack in the earth and it's just filled with thorns and things will just fall in there and get wrapped up like a Venus flytrap.
Oh.
And that's how the plants feed themselves.
I think that we have stolen a very small, what are they called? The lampy things that give artificial sunlight.
Oh, okay. So you have some kind of radiant energy plant.
Yeah, we have like a very small like radiant energy thing. Like I think it like is shaped. It's funny, we've put it in a thing that's shaped like a sundial.
Okay. So for those who are not familiar, there is the scientists of the setting have found a way to kind of replicate sunlight. It basically involves making plants or fish very, very toxic, just terribly toxic. But there's some alchemy and weird occult stuff involved that can make some things radiate light that is like sunlight. It's not like full bright sunlight, but it is enough that in some places, the very, very wealthy people have greenhouses where you can grow like fruits and vegetables and plants that need sunlight.
I think there's a vine that winds around the sundial that's very radioactive.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's radiant energy. Cool. So that provides some illumination in here. Yeah, so who else wants to add a detail?
So Bestus, he's here for one reason and one reason only. he needs to grow his catnip.
I was waiting for it.
Very good.
Oh,
Okay.
God.
So we've got two people's vices are covered here. That's good. All right. So there's thorns, there's a radiant energy vine, and there's a catnip garden. Lynn, what would you like to contribute to this setup?
I'm gonna say that Portia probably has brought like some sculpture, like something small, but something that would have come from her family's house.
Okay.
That's probably in the shape of like a lady or something like that. That would have been one of those just things that decorated the house, but you know, of things that she doesn't have quite anymore. So it was to her a safe place to put this thing that was part of her family's past.
Okay, cool. And I think that like around the base of the statue and kind of like creeping up it, some of these like thorny brambles and vines have started to wrap around it. Very cool. So I assume there is a way for you all to get into the garden safely without being devoured by the thorns.
Mm-hmm.
So you get in there with these
over the...
Yeah. Skittles gently deposits all of you in there.
Oh God.
It's just a pruned area.
So you are in the sort of I'm picturing that like in the middle of the garden is kind of a clear area where you've got this sundial with the radiant energy vine and this statue, and that's kind of your shrine area. And yeah, you've gotten here with your ritual focus. And now you just need to complete this ritual that you definitely understand how it works.
Yep.
For sure. Yeah, you are.
Oats.
Yeah, very good.
Read it all. Did some research. We definitely know how this works.
I read a book.
Our heads.
So I think I'm going to have each of you kind of contribute something and make a roll towards doing this ritual. And if you would like your acolytes to do anything, they can also act as a group if you want them to do something.
So I think everyone needs to gather in a circle, and we all need to prick our fingers on the thorns and drip a drop of blood onto the withered rosebuds of the bouquet.
Okay. Okay, yes. I like that. I don't think that's going to take a roll, but it's definitely like, I think that everyone does that as the last person drips blood onto the flowers.
There's like a rose in the middle that's like white or pink and it turns blood red.
Ooh, yeah. That's very good.
And like almost like opens up a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that, and there's this like kind of tension and charge in the air that you all can feel as like something is starting. So what's the next step?
I think that to open the ritual, you have to recite like a chant. It has that kind of like that cadence of like psalms where it like is mostly on the same note, but it'll go up or down a little bit. You have to like do it the right way.
Okay.
So I think Amiel steps forward and is going to try and contribute that.
Okay. What do you want to roll for that?
What would a...
I mean, I would
Maybe
say
Go ahead.
You could do a social roll. I would say like anything with a ritual, a tune is also a safe bet.
I'm fine to do a tune.
Okay.
Like maybe she feels where she needs to, like she like... I'll roll and see how it goes.
Yeah.
I have an idea. 6!
Okay.
For once my attune roll went well.
Yeah.
It may have lesser effect because I'm soul stabbed.
Yes. I will say, let me roll for your I think your acolytes are all, well, they're elite, so I'm not giving a roll for them. I'm just going to say that your acolytes are sort of dedicated to this task of they, like, you start the chant and then they all join in. So with their assistance, that's enough
Okay.
to
So I think that she almost kind of like they tune into the energy that's humming in the air and they can feel where they're supposed to go up or down.
Mm-hmm.
Like the song just kind of carries them after the first few words.
Okay. All right. So what is the next piece of this ritual? We've got blood. We've got a chant. Some other good, creepy cult summoning ritual things we can do.
How about we need some arcane symbols drawn in our circle here. So how about Bastus draws in the dust with his tail with a finesse roll?
Okay. Yeah, I like
and
that.
I can contribute arcane implements to that.
Okay. Yeah. So you're do you want to?
I'll take a stress to assist.
Okay. So you'll get another die on your roll then, Hank.
All right. So we've got a 5, a 3, and a 2.
Okay. So 5. So I'm not doing this quite exactly in the action roll for the score, but so yeah, I think that actually no, I do know what the consequence is.
Dun, dun, dun.
So yeah, the chant is going. You draw these arcane symbols in the dirt, and you can feel just that like ambient power in the air is like almost like starting to crackle, kind of like static electricity. And yeah, Waffles or Lynn, I think you want to.
Like there was some documents or something I had that I'm not entirely sure like their contents but they're important in the sense of like in the middle of the circle like lighting them on fire as like either a sacrifice of something or
Yeah, maybe they're like some like holy texts you stole from some rivals of yours.
yeah
Like a rival cult.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think I would say probably a tune or I mean, I guess rec could also work. Maybe finesse. Probably not finesse.
Rec sounds good for a desecration.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to take a stress for that because I have nothing in rec.
Okay. 2
So
stress.
so if I
to push
take a
yourself.
stress, so I know it was. Do I just roll 1 die then if I'm taking a stress for that instead of
Yeah.
rolling 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I give you an assist on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then
Yeah.
do I?
So now you'll roll 2d6,
Okay.
and Minna will take.
And I think she's having trouble with like her flint or whatever, and she tosses over hers.
Thank you. 6.
Okay, yeah. So you get where I think that they're like you like light them on top of one of these symbols, and like the ashes sort of spread out to fill it in, and just like it like the black just like sears into the dirt.
Yeah.
All right, Waffles, bring us home. What's gonna actually complete this ritual?
I think as they were doing this, Waffles or Dawn was walking around the garden picking fruit and putting it into a bowl, and just lays down the fruit in the center at the end.
It's an offering for the creature that's being summoned. Okay. Yeah, make a roll of some kind for that.
You can go with probably a tune. That sounds toony.
Yeah.
Since it's a big roll, what's a devil's bargain look like?
that group of bluecoats is really persistent.
And the cat came
they're
back.
gonna, yeah,
Hmm.
they're gonna show up. They're gonna make it out to this shrine before you're able to leave.
Yeah. No, I'll just take 2 stress.
Okay.
Do you want assistance?
Sure.
I'll take a stress to assist.
Okay. Teamwork.
So kind of like surveying and just being like, no, go with that one. And
Yeah.
like micromanaging the
The best fruit. There's a big one over there. Just like climbing through thorns. Ah,
Yeah,
Alright.
So luckily for me, I have an extra stress box because I'm at 9 stress now.
Waffles.
6.
6?
I'm stressed
Yeah.
now.
Okay.
It'll be
So-
fine.
You
The worst
set
that can
down
happen.
this bowl of fruit, and you just feel this like snapping of tension in the air, and the constant like miasma of the Deathlands swirls around in the garden, and your vision is obscured, and the chanting of your acolytes gets louder and louder, and then very suddenly the fog clears, the acolytes fall silent, and standing over the bowl, sort of eyeing the fruit, is a fairly small creature, maybe like a foot long, kind of a pointed face, what appears to be fur at first glance covering it, sort of like blackish fur, has 2 pairs of eyes, one on top of the other. We all in the real world would recognize this as a really messed up badger.
Oh,
And it just kind of it's the fur, if anybody gets closer, is actually like very small tentacles. They're all just kind of waving.
Does it still have the white stripes?
Good badger friend.
If
So happy.
but yeah, it just kind of starts like nosing around in the fruit and just munch.
That's oddly cute.
A woodland creature, but no woodland.
Yeah, that's more or less what happened here. Y'all are trying to be druids. Good job. You summoned a woodland creature. I'm proud
But
of
it's
you.
messed up because it's post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, it didn't. I mean, badgers, I don't think badgers survived the cataclysm. So you've kind of forcibly summoned a creature that hasn't existed for like almost 900
The
years.
world
into
like looks at its hand. Badger.
yeah, close enough.
I think it's cute.
I mean, it's I would say it's on the same level of weird as Skittles. So
Yeah, and
The perfectly normal badger.
Yeah.
What are we going to do with it? Can
I
it
was
live
gonna
out
say,
here? Do we have to take it home with
can I
us?
approach it?
yeah.
I think
that-
Amiel's gonna step forward and like crouch and offer her hand.
Yeah.
It sniffs at your hand.
She pets the weird tentacles if it lets her.
Yeah. When you pet it, the white stripes on its back turn like an electroplasmic blue for a second. And
I
then go
love
back to
it.
white.
Yeah, Portia's definitely kind of like kneeling down and like checking it out.
Yeah.
Oh,
Probably
really
taking
nice.
notes in a sketchbook and like sketching its anatomy and taking notes of it.
I think Bastus claps Don on the back and says, "Well, I'm terribly sorry we weren't able to summon a mate for Skittles. But this is cute."
It's adorable.
So what do we do with it? What is it for? I mean, we were supposed to summon power, I thought.
Maybe it has a power that it can attack. Oh, it's expensive things. Not sure.
Are you going to help us help our garden grow, you silly thing?
Attune with the badger.
Oh God!
Attune to the badger.
Can I?
Yes, you can.
You can absolutely attune to the creepy pseudo badger.
I rolled a 5.
Okay. So you attune to the ghost field to commune with the badger. I think what you see in the ghost field is a normal badger.
Well, you look a bit different.
You get a sense of it. It doesn't communicate in words, but you get a sense of like affection and loyalty and like this feeling of like protectiveness. Like it will want to protect you and or the garden. And then you get just this brief flash of this like normal looking badger just like gnawing on the ankles of some very large creature that is just like kicking and trying to run off, and it's showing that it can fight. It is a fight badger.
I think it's a guardian for our garden.
And I think you got a 5, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I think
It's a consequence.
And the consequence is you hear from outside of they're in here. I found them. And the badger all of a sudden just sits upright and looks towards the entrance and then takes off. And you just hear
badger don't give a beep.
Nope. And you just hear this, what the?
As a sidebar, did I recognize the spirit warden at all at any point?
No, I mean they're not. They all have like masks.
That's true. They all have masks.
Yeah. But yeah,
I'm still happy that spiritually that this badger is attacking them.
Yeah.
So good.
So I think that's where we will wrap up. I know it's a little early for the scheduled time that we had, but you guys got through this adventure quite quickly. With you have successfully summoned a guardian for your shrine.
Mm-hmm.
It is currently chewing on the ankles of your foes. And
we name it Ankle Biter.
Yes.
Call it Kel for short.
Good. So yeah, thank you all for playing. This was very fun.
Thank you for running.
And I think now is the time where we all plug all of our stuff.
Oh, that's right.
So let's Lynn, why don't you start us off? What are you doing? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and the Instagrams and whatever at adorkabledm, formerly of the podcast Awful Good. You can currently find me on the Roll4Change Masks stream, which goes every other week or so. So you can check out Roll4Change for any of the information for when that runs. Other than that, I'm like kind of all over the place. So.
All right. Hank, where can the people find you?
All right. On Twitter, you can find me at unscreenable name. And there's no E on the able, not enough letters to fit. So unscreenable, end it with an L, name. That's me. You can find me there. You can also find me come January 1st on the Dragons of Cthulhu podcast. Second season should be dropping on the 1st.
All right. And Minna.
Hi, you can find me at Mina Minar on Twitter. Finding me anywhere else is harder, but Twitter's good. I am also on the Magpies podcast with Ree at Magpies _pod, I think. And come November 15th, you can find me on the Iron Heights podcast on the One Shot Network. Their Twitter is at Iron Heights Pod.
All right. And Waffles.
Hey, I'm Waffles. You can find me at Mahaffey on Twitter. And you can also find me on the Iron Heights podcast come November 15th, and occasional episodes of other things, such as guest starring on the Magpies.
Yes.
Awesome.
And I am Ree. I've been your GM, and you can find me on Twitter at Rhiannon42. That's my personal. And I am the GM and producer of the Magpies podcast, which is a Blades in the Dark actual play. So if you have enjoyed this and want to see or want to hear more of me GMing Blades, you can tune into that. We just finished up our first season. And you can follow the Magpies Twitter at magpies_pod. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to my players. Thank you for everybody watching online and donating and supporting this. It is for a great cause, and I hope you've all had a really good time.
Bless you.
All right. Yeah, so this is I'm not driving the stream, so I'm not sure how we wrap it up, but
that is the wrap. Thank you very much, Ree and players, for that game. We will be back in about 1 hour for Skull Wizards of the Chaos Caverns, run by Orpheus Protocol's Rob. Again, we'll be back in about 1 hour. Thank you so much.